Frank. What's the weirdest thing you've ever saw in here?
Let me ask you a question, kid. Did you see that movie, Night of the Living Dead?
Hey, we gonna party tonight or what?
Yeah, we are gonna party.
Well, where are we gonna party?
I don't know, somewhere.
Hey, we could go to the park.
Oh, no, we can't. The cops said they'd shoot us if we go back to the park.
Yeah, and I ain't in no mood to go tonight.
I like death.
Greetings, ghouls, and welcome to Minute 55 of Do You Want to Party, the Movies by Minute podcast for the 1985 groundbreaking horror classic, The Return of the Living Dead. I'm your host, Troy, and today we are being joined by the TK himself.
Daniel, you've met me before.
Yes, exactly, yes.
At least I think you have.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Actually, just recently, a couple of minutes ago, as a matter of fact, according to the records. All right, so this particular minute is going to start off with Casey starts the call and ends with Ernie approaching the driver's door.
Action is on.
Yeah, exactly. We are like in the middle of literally the middle of a sprint to start off the last of the previous minute. So knowing where they need to get to, Casey and Chuck run at top speed into the office. Once inside, and finding it instantly, along with Chuck pointing it out, Casey picks up the receiver and pushes the 0 button. Almost instantly, she gets a response as she greets the person answering.
Hello, operator.
After the briefest of pauses, getting a breath, she requests assistance to their situation.
Give me the police. This is an emergency.
But in mid-request, a monster hurls itself through the window next to the double desks. The action causing Casey to scream loudly, dropping the receiver, and the monster landing on all fours on the desk. Casey, hysterically screaming, runs towards and past Chuck, who was still sort of holding guard of the doorway. We watch Casey tear out of the office. Chuck spins on his feet, following Casey, and as closely as possible. Grabbing the outer edge of the door, Chuck slams it shut. Inside the office, still on his knees, the torn jacket, messy-haired creature takes hold of the phone on Frank's side, opposite from the one Casey just used, and hurls it across the room, pulling it from the plug as it smashes against the wall next to the now slam-shut door. Outside the room, Chuck tries to secure the closedness of the door by tilting a nearby metal filing cabinet on its side, which it falls with a loud crash. Frantically, Chuck looks around and yells for the tools used earlier to secure the basement door. Then, proving she's almost the worst character, Chuck shouts for Casey's location. Jason! Meanwhile, back in the hallway of the mortuary, the group of 5 are loudly conversing over each other. Eventually, Bert tries to silence the situation and interjects the next step that they should take.
Get the hell out of here, Ernie.
Spider inquires about vehicular assistance.
I got a car.
Ernie offers up his.
I got a car.
Spider inquires the need to persist.
Well, then get your keys and let's get our ass out.
Ernie, as the group files out of the hallway, confesses the faultiness of his car.
My clutch is shot out.
Just before everyone is out of the way, Bert points out that they have the use of the emergency vehicles.
We'll use a paramedic ambulance.
Inside the bombing room, Ernie pushes open the metal door with a hurried hop. Behind him is Tina, then Spider, and Scuzz, all 3 packed together. However, Tina instantly crosses the room, spots her boyfriend, calls out his name, and makes the distance of the room in less than a couple of steps.
Freddie!
Bert calls to Ernie, who is donning his jacket, inquiring about the medical help and their location.
Oh!
Ernie, where are the paramedics?
As Tina climbs on top of and comforts her boyfriend, Ernie mentions how he'll retrieve them.
I'll go get them. Get my own car started.
As Tina kisses Freddie, she's suddenly aware of his current state. She cries out a question of how he ended up in this condition and who's responsible.
Oh my God, Freddy, what did they do to you?
As Ernie exits the back door, Spider and Scuzz are now close by, also showing concern with the condition of their friend. Outside with his jacket just basically draped over his shoulders, Ernie closes the back entrance door and heads down the slight incline path leading away from the funeral home. He's holding his sidearm up by his head as his other hand holds onto a ring of his own keys. He gets to the end of the path that stops at the parking area. His hair now slicked flat from the rain. His eyes open wide as he sees the ambulance before him. The back and driver's side doors wide open. Cautiously, Ernie slowly approaches. A POV camera is stand-in, getting closer to the seemingly abandoned ambulance. Once close enough, Ernie's back against the side of the vehicle and slides himself towards the driver's side. Gun still held up in a defensive stance as he comes to the actual edge of the open doorway. He spins quickly, pointing the weapon into the cab, and that's where we end the minute.
Yep.
Yeah. So this episode began with one of the coolest jump scares.
Yes, definitely.
Instead of coming from below the window, they ripped in from the side and straight in. So it was like they ran in, jumped through the window.
That was not a well. We'll find out later how it's described in the script, but this is definitely like a stuntman threw himself.
Yep. Of course, one window goes down super easy, but that little soft door stands up to the pounding.
Exactly. Yeah. Oddly enough, the interior window is a little more secure than the outdoor window, which I found hilarious. Which I also didn't even realize until like this particular minute. Once Chuck had slammed down the filing cabinet, right? You like, okay, there we go, and all that. But then you look up at the window, and the guy's standing at the window now. It's like he's just
gently tapping.
Yeah, exactly. Just like ting 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 ting, right? Which is also kind of funny because like the previous shot he was still on the desk, so all of a sudden he's at the door, sort of thing.
Yeah,
but it's just kind of funny how like you pointed out. Yeah, there's no way the interior window is.
Oh, it was a great scene to me. So because it is a campy movie, so.
Oh no, for sure.
For them to do campy scenes was kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so over on the commentary track with director-writer Dan O'Bannon and the production designer William Stout. During the sequence, as Casey is calling, Dan O'Bannon points out that how he wishes that it looked darker outside. The brightness on the windows was making it look like daylight. Then Dan O'Bannon growls out when the phone gets thrown across the room in the office. And he calls it the big, tough zombie. William Stout mentions how he likes how the zombies don't walk around like the mummy, how they are something to contend with. When Tina meets Freddy, William Stout says, "Oh, poor Freddy," and Dan O'Bannon says, "The romantic reunion." Dan O'Bannon then reflects the time that he had him gargle, and him is obviously Tom Matthews, with the orange food coloring to turn his tongue yellow. So that's a little bit of a answer to a question we had in a couple of episodes ago when it was revealed the color of Freddy's. I believe I was with Natasha and Ahmed, so hopefully we can relay that information to them. And then finally we have an answer to what it was that they used to turn Freddy's mouth, or Tom Matthews' mouth, that color to pull off that look.
It's such an easy trick, and yet,
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, a lot of the stuff doesn't get passed on. The information doesn't get passed on, so it's nice to have at least some sort of reference, whether it's actually the reference or not, because, I mean, every once in a while, you don't know if you can really trust what Dan O'Bannon is saying about Dan O'Bannon's projects and all that, but... All right, so according to the script, which is, again, a story and screenplay by Dan O'Bannon, we're dealing with a revision from October 1983, and this is based on the story and screenplay by John Russo, Rudy Rickey, and Russell Steiner. So we begin with the interior, Frank and Bert's office, night, rain. The phone sits on Bert's desk next to the window. Casey rushes in, picks it up. She dials 0. Casey into the phone. Hello, operator? Get me the police. This is an emergency. Suddenly, the window is smashed in, and a corpse reaches in for Casey. She screams and leaps back. The corpse crawls in the broken window. It sees the phone on the desk and grabs it and yanks it out of the wall, and then throws it at Casey and Chuck. Casey and Chuck shoot out of the office and slam the door shut. Interior warehouse, night rain. Chuck quickly pushes over a big filing cabinet in front of the door, to Bert's office. It hits the floor with a resounding crash, making furniture jump. Chuck, looking around wildly. Where's that hammer and nails? Casey runs to get it. Cut to interior mortuary foyer hallways, night, rain. Ernie, Bert, Meat, Scuzz, and Tina arguing. Now again, for the purpose of the script is written as Meat. We're actually talking about the character of Spider. Bert, forget the police. Let's just get out of here. Meat, do you have a car? Ernie, I have a car. Meat, then grab your keys and let's get your ass in gear. Ernie, wait, how many of us are there? They'd only have one car. Bert, no, wait, there's the ambulances. Ernie, that's it, the ambulances. Some of us can get out of the ambulances. Meat, where's the ambulances? Ernie, this way. They hurry into the embalming room. Interior embalming room, night, rain. Frank and Freddy are sitting in great pain, gasping for breath, as the others, Ernie, Bert, Meat, Scuzz, Tina, come hurrying in. Tina, Freddy! She runs over to Tina. Freddy, hello, Tina. Bert, you two know each other? Tina, oh my God, Freddy, what did they do to you? Bert, looking around. Where's the paramedics? Freddy is shaking his head, hurting too much to talk. Ernie, I'll go get them and get my own car started. Ernie gets his keys from his pocket of his coat, hanging on a hook. He throws the door open and strides into the rain. Exterior, rear of mortuary, night, rain. Ernie hustles out into the driving rain, gun in hand, fishing among his keys on the ring for his own car keys. Up ahead of him sits the ambulance, its doors standing open. The ambulance lights are on. Ernie hurries towards it. He hurries up to the door of the driver's side, which is open. He looks into the front seat, and that's where we end this particular minute. So it's kind of neat to see that originally it's just supposed to be like the zombie busting a window and then eventually crawling inside, not hurling himself through.
Yes.
Which is also kind of neat because if you go back to the sequence, you see just outside the window, there's a giant bush in the way. Obviously, they're using to cover the fact that this is a stage and there's actually nothing beyond that window, so they had to sort of dress it up, and the best they can do is put this bush and all that sort of thing. So, like, did the friggin' corpse like jump on top of the bush and then throw himself through the window or something like that? But yeah, so it's a little more energetic than what it says in the script.
It's a lot more energetic. It was a fast scene.
Yeah, exactly. Well, whereas... the script has more of a classic horror feel to it, like the smashing hand and grabbing and all that sort of thing. But yeah, having the actual creature come right into the thing in that sequence is just, total terror and all that. So that's going to bring us to the work print comparison, which is where we take the all the footage that has been shot for the movie and then culminate it into one final piece. And then we take that and then edit it down to what we have as a final film. So, of course, we're going to have a lot more extra footage and whatnot. Sometimes, as we've just recently discovered, some places are shot out of different orders than what we have in the final film. But for example, we are currently dealing with minute 54 to 55, whereas in the work print comparison, this particular minute takes place between minute 64:29 and goes to minute 65:34. So we have a couple more seconds than a minute for this particular scene. So to begin with, the shot once inside the office includes Chuck in the shot. So it's actually a pulled back scene. We get to see the whole entire width of the actual office itself, which is kind of neat. So So as Casey is making her call, and she actually has to wait for a few seconds, so the operator doesn't pick up right away as it does in the final version. We have Chuck pacing back and forth a little bit. He's still always got his eye on the open door of the office because as far as they know, that entrance all the way over there that they just come in through is where everyone has gathered.
Also where anyone would come from, yeah.
Exactly. Yes, you would expect to come from. Exactly. The shot also shows the room has a rather big ceiling fan as well, and that the room is actually lit by one of those box lights of fluorescent tubing and all that, which is kind of neat to see for the first time in this particular shot. Now, the it then cuts to a close up of Casey on the phone once the actual corpse throws himself through the window and all that sort of thing. And then we then follow the rest of that sequence. But after Chuck has dropped the filing cabinet and calls for Casey, the camera holds on him for a couple more seconds while he actually puts his hand up and actually also pushes against the door to keep it from opening, instead of it suddenly cutting to the hallway sequence where everyone's talking over each other. And that's about the extra stuff that we have. So just a couple more seconds. Everything else pretty much plays out the way that it does in the final film as it does in the work print comparison. So there we go. So that wraps up for what we need to talk about for this particular. Anything else you want to add to this particular minute, Mr. Dan?
So I don't know why, but in this one, I always happen to notice, especially now, was the headband of death that Tina's wearing. It's one of those spiky ones that the 80s girls used to
the little coiled sort of thing.
It would harm themselves with, because it was just all like wearing daggers and knives trying to put in and pull out. There's videos now of them talking about that.
I like the fact that while Tina is now probably the messiest of all the characters, because of obviously her outfit is now completely drenched in mud and filth, her face as well and all that. But I love how perfectly crystal, like pearly white her necklace is. Like it doesn't look to be, it like stands out. It actually almost glows sitting against her skin. It's hilarious when she comes, and you only first notice it because of the lighting in the embalming room, right? Because in the hallway it's a little more dimmer lighting and all that sort of thing. But as soon as she walks into that white necklace that she has just like shines so bright because of just how, I guess, unclean, how actually clean it is compared to the rest of her uncleaned self and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh, the other amusing thing to me always was Ernie. When they ask, if only we had a car, I have one. It's like so out of place. It was like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I like how
it's always so abrupt.
Exactly. I like how they introduce in the film version, because it's not in the script, that there's a problem. There's a problem with his clutch and all that sort of thing. And then they decide that, well, we can use the ambulances and all that sort of thing, which again is part of the script. But the fact that they decide to alter the, like, not everyone's going to fit in this car, but we can use the ambulances and all that sort of thing. But my clutch is shot. Yeah.
Suddenly the car is not quite as good. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All right, so like I said, that's gonna bring us to the end of this particular minute. Again, we got a lot of action going on. We've witnessed practically every single character that we know so far in this 1 minute, which is kind of cool. And we have a bit of a situation now. Obviously, knowing this movie, you know what's about to happen and all that sort of thing. Things are about to get a one more step higher in its in its terror, because something else is about to happen. Now everyone's going to be aware of the fact that the mortuary is being swarmed. So, but again, we're about to hit that point, and like I said, Ernie is going to be all on board for the terror that Spider, Tina, and Scuzz have just brought into the mortuary. So it's we're in for a fun ride. Like I said, I mean, this movie from this point on is nothing but a fun ride. The roller coaster is totally going into its quick banks and corkscrews and all that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a fun time from here on out.
Yeah.
Do you got anything else you want to add besides
Uh,
that?
I just wanted to do a little shout out because I like this movie, The Valley of the Dead, 2022. If you like
Okay.
foreign films, this is a good Spanish version of a zombie
Okay.
apocalypse.
All right.
Yeah, so it's a
Valley of the Dead. So following the George A. Romero style of
of a sort, yeah.
yeah.
Because basically it's like a war is going on, and these two opposing parties have an encounter in this valley, and as the one side got captured and they're all tied up, suddenly their compatriots start sitting up.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. So something happens during the wartime that reanimates the dead, sort of thing. Is there
Yes,
an explanation for what happens, or is it just
I don't really want to dip into it too much, but
okay? Okay, good, good.
it's a
I will hold
good.
the questioning there. Yeah.
This is just enough that I can peek on. From the reason I don't mind mentioning this part is because it's all in the trailer. So if you were just to
Okay.
watch, you would catch it. And it's just a case of they're all trapped together, and now they have to like work together instead of against each other. And
Which is basically yeah the basic storyline of yes that sort of thing, and then throw
yeah,
zombies in it. Everyone's got to figure out. Oh no, we got to work together if we want to get out of this sort of thing. Yeah.
and for
Yeah.
anyone who follows the zombie flicks, All of Us Are Dead, a classic 2022, or I think it was 2022.
Hmm.
Um, that's a Korean one. It takes place in
Okay.
a high school where
In
it all
where? In
starts.
oh yes, the high yes, yes, yes.
It all starts in the high school, and so it's a solid season of these kids getting how to get to a safe zone. Well,
Okay.
season 2 is coming to Netflix.
Ah, excellent. So the first movie, the Spanish movie, it was called again, what again, sorry?
Valley of the Dead.
Valley of the Dead. Where did you come across it? Was that
This
also
is
on
also
Netflix?
on Netflix. Yeah,
Okay, excellent. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. A
keeps it
good
simple.
place to start. Yeah,
And of
yeah.
course, everyone should know from your shows. We did see 28 years later.
28 years. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
if you need to catch up, like I did before I went to see it, I did watch 28 Days Later, which was so much worse and makes 28 years so really good. 28 Days was not my favorite.
28 days or 28 months?
Oh, sorry. 28 was it
Months. That's
months?
the
Yeah.
second one. Yeah, the second one was months, which wasn't as yeah,
The
no.
second one, great.
Okay,
28
I'm
months.
glad
I
I'm
have a
glad I
mix of
pointed that
titles.
I'm glad I pointed it out because I'm pretty sure that I would get a bunch of comments and like, what's that guy talking about? 28
Well, and it
days is
would make me sound
amazing.
pretty stupid too, because I watch so many zombie movies. It's
Yes,
just a case of I don't remember titles well.
No, no, I understand. I
It's a
understand.
hard hit
And
on the brain.
yeah, 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 exactly, exactly.
I was trying
Yeah,
us when
no.
we were there, and I kept making the same mistakes.
All right. So that being said, thank you, Dan, for joining me for this particular minute.
Yeah.
Thank you, audience, for coming along on this trip. We are still in mid-July right now. We are still looking forward to hopefully getting enough funding to be able to do our big 40th anniversary shindig that we want to do in a movie theater where we'll be recording not only an episode of this particular podcast live with an audience, but to also be showing the movie itself on the 40th anniversary, which is August 16th of 2025. So this year, the year that you're listening to this. If you're in the far off future, then this really doesn't mean anything to you because you're in the future, we're currently in the past, but how are things in the future? Anyways,
We
um,
were there, and you're talking about it.
yes, exactly, exactly. So if you think we're worth the help and all that sort of thing, we're welcome to take donations. If you want to go to our ko-fi.com/Planet Geek Pod, I'll leave the link in the show notes. So an easier way to get to it, and you can just whatever you feel that you can afford to do. We are looking to hopefully get around a total of $1,100 and. Then we'll be peachy keen sort of thing. That should basically cover all of our basics for what we need for both the rental of the place and staffing of the place as we need it for about a 3 hour window. So, and then uh, any donations made, if you are local, you are welcome to come along with a as a free ticket for you and all that sort of thing. And then if you can't, you're going to be given the free. We're going to be streaming the actual recording of the podcast live, so you're going to be welcome to that as well. So again, Thank you, Dan. Thank you, audience. Hopefully, things work out for us in about a month from now, which is what we're coming down on. And until next time, I got nothing else to say, but see you next Wednesday.
You've just been listening to a Planet Geek production of Do You Want a Party? A Movies by Minute podcast of the 1985 The Return of the Living Dead. Please be sure to subscribe, download, comment, share, rate, and review. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, or Letterboxd. Search for Planet Geek Productions. X, former Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, search for Planet Geek Pod. Or send us an email to planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Our closing music is provided by Night Chill. See the show notes for more details. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and farewell, fiends.
Wait a sec.
Yeah, and then you start.
Yep. No. I just took my eyes. I took my eyes off the script and I lost my place. Light and clear. Sidearm up. Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Once he gets, there you go. Okay, so are you on headphones right now, or are you just listening to me straight out?
Headphones.
Because I can hear the echo of my voice coming from.
Really?
You. Yeah.
That's rare. Well,
Let's see.
Turn them off.
Wait. No, wait. Now I can't.
Oh no, there it is.
No, I'm getting yeah.
All right, I'll kill it.
I don't seem to hear myself now. Okay, yeah. Because it was just a delayed, and that's why I was stumbling over, like, hearing my own voice coming back at me, like just a brief moment behind and all that sort of thing. Other than that, and the fact that I can't read my own friggin' notes sometimes. So
odd for a conduction headphones.
And I just edited myself out of that sequence. There you go. Minute 64:29 to 50 takes place between minute 64:29 and goes to minute 65:34. Numeric dyslexia. It's a wonderful thing.